What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today we got another metal build review. We're going to be taking a look at the Metal Build O Riser and GN Sword 3 for the Gundam 00. So we're going to be taking a look at that today. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go. So let's see what we have inside here. So first, we've got the manual, so typical manual there. Then we have the O Riser. So you've got the O Riser here. It looks like you have his two side thrusters and cannons there. Looks like you've got the two shields for the 00 Riser, two versions of the GN Drive with the GN Sword 3 there. So you've got that, and then you've got a mini stand for the O Riser. So that's what we have in the box. So what we're going to do is we're going to put him together and see how he looks. So here we have the O Riser on his stand. Looks really, really good. I would say at first glance, it kind of reminds me in a weird way of a TIE fighter. I think it's just the two guns / engines on the side. But you have that with the GN Sword 3 here. So you do have this. These flaps, they will go up and down on both sides. They are a little loose though. I want them to be a little bit tighter than that, but considering this guy's so old, I'm not really surprised there. So you do have that. You have the tail on the back there. Let's see if we can see that. So you have the tail on the back there. So these will go in and out. So those will do that as well. If you want to display him without the GN Sword 3, you do have an adapter piece for that here. And you can put that on and take the GN Sword 3 off. You also can remove, if you don't want this version of the cockpit on, he does have a all white cockpit. You just have to pop this off. Let's see if I can do it without it flying halfway across the room. So you got that, and then you can put this one on here, which is all white. So you can do that and then put that in, boom, just like that. So he has an all white cockpit now. So very, very interesting, because I think what Saji, I think, was the one that piloted this for a while. So you do have that. So if you want to go with that look instead of the orange cockpit look, you can as well. So pretty interesting. Also with the stand, you can use this and it will go up and down. It does not look like it goes up, but you can have it banked in a way like that. That way it really looks like a TIE fighter to me. But you can do that. So it will go up and down. So you've got a couple notches on there. You got a couple notches on the side there. So I think that that's pretty interesting. I will say that the connection piece is pretty solid. You just want to make sure that it's in there all the way, because if it's not, it will fall out. So you just want to be cognizant of that. But I think overall, I think it's a nice little piece. And I am glad I was able to find it, because as you guys know, this one is really, really old. So this one came out roughly in 2013, between 2013 and 2015. So this one is not an easy find, especially to find brand new. So, so you do have that. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to take out the 007 sword, and we're gonna change him into the 00 Riser. So we'll do that next. So now that we brought the 00 Gundam 7 sword out, I just wanted to do a couple of things before we switch him to the 00 Riser. So let's go ahead and move the Riser out of the way. Let's bring the 007 sword out. Now, there's a couple of things that we're gonna have to do. If you remember in the 00 Gundam 7 sword review, we got an extra set of knees. This is what this is for, so we can create the O Riser. So what we'll have to do is we're gonna have to replace the two knees and the two GN drives. That's why we got new ones in this set. And there is a couple of things that you can do with the shield here. So for the shield, you can actually have this connected to the back here of his forearm. So if you want to have it like that, you can do that. And then also you can have it connected to the bottom of the GN drive here, right on the shoulder. So you can do that as well. So I just wanted to show you that. And also you can connect these together. Let me go ahead and pull this out here. Let's hope he doesn't fall over. So you've got that. And then what you would do is just slide these down, and then these parts will connect here. Let's see here. Boom, just like that. And so you have that, and then that can also connect on the back as well. as you see fit. So you can do that as well. So I just kind of wanted to show you that and show you how that works with the shield. So now that we've gone over that, let's go ahead and switch him so he can become the 00 Riser. So here we have the 00 Riser. So this one was very interesting. Now it's not very hard to put the attachment pieces on. I will say that I did have a problem with one of the knees, one of the original knees on the 7 sword. That one had a hard time letting loose. So, so I was able to get it though. And really it's just taking the old GN drives off and putting these the riser cannons or whatever on. So you do have that. So it pretty much connects right in there. Now I will say also that you have the riser backpack there. So here we have the riser attachment. So this is the plain part. It really just folds together and you can't bring this out. Now I will say that what this does want to do is this makes him want to lean backwards quite a bit. And even though I was able to kind of get him stabilized, he definitely wants to lean backwards. So I would probably have this guy on a stand, to be honest. I think that that would probably be the best way, just because the weight of this part here is gonna make him want to topple backwards. And the thing is, the 00 Gundam didn't really have the tightest joints, especially since this version of the 00 is very old, because this is back from what, 2013, 2015, somewhere around there. So this is almost an 11-year-old figure, even though I just got it brand new. So you do have that. Also, you have you have the GN Sword 3 here, which I think it looks really awesome. I would say that this one holds together, even though for whatever reason, I always have a problem connecting the GN swords. I don't know why, but this one will extend this way. So we just have to move that out the way, boom. And then you kind of got that there. So it's very, very long. And getting it connected is really just getting it into the hands and then getting the back part connected to the back of the forearm. That really was the issue that I was having. But once you kind of get it, it's not really that difficult. So all in all, I think he looks very, very sound. Now, I still prefer the 007 sword. I think that the 007 sword looks better, but this is the version of the 00 Gundam that we got in Gundam 00. So it's not bad, it's just that I like the 7 sword more. Also, I will say that with the 00 Riser, because he wants to lean backwards, where with the 7 sword, his weight was more equally distributed between just the two sides of his shoulder. So he didn't really have any balancing issues, but now that he's got this heavy backpack on, that does make him a little bit more unstable. But overall, I think he still looks great. And then also one last thing, if you don't want to have the like riser cannons or whatever on, you can take these off. So really you should just be able to slide these off here like this. And you do have the ones that don't have the GN sensors in there, or the GN drive, I should say. And these will just snap in there like that. So if you want to have him more like this, and you can have it to where you don't want the GN drives out like that, you can do that on both sides. So you do get 2 attachments for both of those. So I just did want to cover that, but that's pretty much it for the 00 Riser. So let's go to final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy, the O Riser and GN Sword 3 option set. Now this was for the original release of the 007 sword that came out in 2011. So I was very lucky to find him and to find him brand new. That is extremely difficult. And the thing is, with the 00 Gundam, we've had so many different releases. We had a Trans Am version that came out in 2012. We had the original release of the 00 Riser in 2013. We had the 7 Sword, this version that you see in front of you. This one came out in 2017. We had the 00 Riser Designer Blue that came out in 2019. And we had the 10th anniversary Trans Am particle version that came out in 2021. So as you can see, this is a very popular suit. It has been released quite a few times, but it is very difficult to find new. So I was extremely fortunate to do that. Now, my issue with the 00 Riser is that once you put the backpack on, it pretty much makes him very difficult to stand on his own power. The 7 Sword, he could do pretty good because the weight was evenly dispersed between the two sides. But with the O Riser backpack, that puts so much strain on the back, and the fact that even though he can stand, so I'm not saying that he can't stand, but I would prefer him to be on a stand. I think that's where most of these Gundams are at their best, and especially in the alternate universe Gundams, they tend to have a ton of big backpacks on them, and this 00 Gundam is no different. So those tend to work best on a stand. Now, the other issue that I have is with the GN Sword 3. The GN Sword 3, even though I like it, I like how it looks, it's definitely an upgrade of the GN Sword that we had with the Exia. It is very heavy, and it puts a lot of strain on those joints in the shoulder for the 00 Gundam. The fact that he really can't even do this pose without support because his arm will just droop down. It'll just droop down every time. And the thing is, if you remember, this is the 2017 version, so this one is not necessarily as old as, say, the original release, but this is brand new as well, but his joints just can't support it. It can't support the weight of the backpack. It really can't support the weight of the GN Sword 3 without help. So he either needs to be on a stand or he needs some sort of support of some sort, but that's what he needs. Now, if you can get over those two things, I would say that this is definitely a very good pickup. Now, like I said, this version of the option set is going to be very hard to find new. And if you do find it new, and you can, it's not impossible, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a lot. So that really depends on how bad that you want it. And to be honest, especially if you like I personally like the designer blue version, but that one is very expensive as well because that one is a very sought after version. It has more of a different color palette, so it's more of a bluish purple than this straight up cobalt blue that we see here. So it's not bad. I may get that in the future. I'm not gonna give you any hints on whether or not I'm gonna buy it or not, but it is definitely something that I've looked at. Whether or not I will, I don't know. So as you guys know, I don't really score option sets, but I do like this option set quite a bit. And at the time that it was released, it was actually relatively cheap. There was a time when option sets didn't cost us $120, $150 per option set like they do now. When this was originally released, it was probably less than 50. So that's unfortunate that we're not in those times anymore, but it is what it is. But overall, I think that this is great now that my 00 Gundam, which is my favorite outside of the 00 Quanta, in all of Gundam 00. So I've always liked this suit, so I am glad to finally have him complete, have the 7 Sword, which is still my favorite of the two between these two, and having the O Riser, I think, is an added bonus. So that's what I've got for you guys today. Thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, subscribe to the channel, send this one out to all of the Gundam 00 fans, all of the 00 Riser fans, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.